Hi, Dr. Clausen. This is Amanda Woods here, and this is my reflective project for your class, EdTech 650, the spring of 16. So the big picture, teaching with technology in a meaningful way. So learning theory, when using technology in the classroom, is to me common sense nowadays, because we have computers and students are using those computers, as well as for me being a virtual teacher, my students were always connected to me through the computer doing their learning modules online, etc., etc. So much of the technology currently being introduced into today's classrooms will be used to reinforce outmodeled ineffective methods of teaching and learning. So I agree with that wholeheartedly, because we have come so far with technology, and if teachers tap into that technology, then they will be reaching their fullest potential. For me, learning the theory behind all the modes of technology helped me to see where we are headed with our 21st century learners. Students today are learning so much more outside the classroom thanks to the World Wide Web, and we need to teach them the new learning mode. I've also learned that there are many things to consider when picking the type of technology I want to use with my students. So meaningful learning is when we choose the right tools for the job of meaningful learning will take place. We as educators need to make a change when we want to use the integration of technology to truly and meaningfully learn what it takes place and students will use throughout the rest of their lives, not just to get the assignment done for us to grade as an but authentic learning will take place. And I've learned that through different projects you've had us do throughout this semester. With our PBL ongoing project, and using and learning about the Big Six and the Super Three, as well as I was not familiar with the Kataku website and how to use that to make concept maps and mind maps, and ways to get my thinking out there before I head forward into my projects. So that was very meaningful learning for me. Some more meaningful things throughout the semester that really hit home to me was that first assignment that we did with the learning environment, and utilizing that and showing what my learning environment was like, using the Glogster. And then, using hyperlinks throughout the process to teach students how to click on those hyperlinks and use them in their process of learning, through the project-based learning projects. Which leads me to mind tools, how I've used them and how I plan to use them in the future. Learning that all the things that I've been using with my students in the virtual teaching world as well as in the regular classroom, actually had a name of mind tools. So that was quite interesting for me. So in learning, that mind tools scaffold different forms of reasoning about content. And when using mind tools, activities to engage learners and tasks that they will be able to accomplish when they're using them, they come into an intellectual partnership with the computer that as a whole, learning becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And that's true of the learners that I've come in contact with, that the more that they utilize the programs and the technologies that we're asking them to use, the more learning takes place. Mind tools for me, is a greater way to enhance students' learning, and I've done things such as Google Drive spreadsheets and surveys. The survey part, I really utilized the last 2 school years with my 3rd grade students in creating online quizzes and having those students take those online quizzes and then go from there of seeing the data in the spreadsheets and seeing how they're doing and then utilizing that data to enhance their learning. Using the Kataku as a visualization tool, and then online Blackboard collaboration and private chats. Mindful future usage. I plan on using online KWL spreadsheet charts, other spreadsheets for my students to collect data on, the use of the internet tools, which most of us use every day, of the email, the search engine, using chat forms more online and offline, and having students chat with each other not only while they're in the classroom, because most students like to converse with their fellow students, but if they maybe use it in the form of chat, it may be a different way for them to hone in on those skills. News groups, coming up with news with students and looking those things up, giving peer feedback on projects to each other, opening up the global classroom and maybe having a classroom across the world that we connect with. All these things will help the students build their critical thinking skills, enhance their project-based learning projects, and then also increase their concept mapping using inspiration, kidspiration, and the brain. So which leads me to PBL, project-based learning, how to grow students' learning throughout projects. So this has opened my eyes to a new type of learning for students. Students are now actively learning about things and doing their own research without the teacher giving them the information. They do this through a process of either the Super 3 for younger students or the Big 6 for older students. For my project for this class, I used the Super 3 because I had primary grade students when I made the project. Students were given the problem and had to figure out the solution. So here's the link to my project. So then the students clicked on here. So then they were having to go through this project here of all the links. So then they were to click on the picture, which gave them the link to the Super 3. And then they could go back and find out about Annie and Moby. And click right on the video there. And then what problems do you see? Then guidelines for the project. So they use the hyperlinks in different ways. And here's an example of how I use the Google Docs and have them give their answers as another mind tool incorporated within the project-based learning project. So let me get back to our presentation here. So some questions that I continuously need to be asking myself when using technology, which is really going to be the driving force and keep moving me forward when thinking how to use technology within the classroom and outside the classroom, and then in future endeavors either inside the teaching world or outside the teaching world in my new jobs. So will the technology help the teacher and students with their lessons? Will it make them easier, greater, and faster? Will the technology help manage learning? Will it help the teacher and student in the responsibility of their learning? Will it encourage student-teacher collaboration as well as student-to-student collaboration? Help the students to manipulate real-world materials? Will that technology increase communication and cooperation among peers? Will it increase that critical thinking skills will it help them learn by their individual learning styles? And will it adapt to changes that continue to happen in our world? So next, I want to talk about the TPAC and how does it affect me. I put a key there because it is key of having an outstanding curriculum-based technology integration for teachers and students. Without having that continuous curriculum-based technology integration, then we're not going to move forward in technology in the integration used in the classroom. This is a new direction of teacher education. I'm in agreement as a formal virtual school teacher. Teaching with technology was a part of my everyday life. I had to be mindful of how the use of technology in my content affected how students were learning the materials. And I found this graphic online, which I really liked, that shows those three things going together, going to the learner's learning needs. So everything goes back to the student. So equity and access, thoughts on that? The issues are, all issues we have with equity and access to technology can be addressed if you have the right equipment and are in the right area and culture. However, I feel that the way of technology is available in our libraries, personal laptops, and iPads are becoming more affordable, as well as mobile phones with access to the internet. Also, teachers need to work on their professional development to keep with all educational technology and resources that are out there to help themselves as well as their students. School administration needs to keep up with the new and gain access to it, new technologies, and gain access to that technology with their students and teachers. When they come across something new, share it out with the school district so that all the schools have access to the same new technology. This is true of any school that I've been in. The more we learn about the different aspects and we share our knowledge with others, we all gain in access to help our students better to learn. How has it affected me in the past is when we were introduced to the Google Drive and the use of Google Doc surveys for students to test their knowledge of Common Core and state standards. This concept was brought to our school's attention by one of its teachers when he learned about it in his graduate school program. If he hadn't shared his knowledge, then we wouldn't be proficient with using it today. So change is inevitable. With all technology comes more change. So where are we and where do we need to go? We have come a long way, but I feel we still have a long way to go. Technology is rapidly changing each and every day. We are now constantly connected to the internet and others. Most people nowadays carry a mini computer with them called their smartphones, which I have my smartphone directly right next to me. I have access to it all the time, and I love it because I am able to speak to my husband who lives and works overseas for a majority of the time. So I'm constantly connected with him and others, as well as being able to look up things, send links, and things like that. So when we have access to it right here, I feel at this point teachers only use technology to share information with their students. They aren't using what is available, mostly I feel because they haven't been trained on how to handle all the different technology there is out there. Professional development is key if teachers are going to be able to use the knowledge gained in using the technological pedagogical content knowledge that they receive using the different forms of technology. So my goals are, in the next steps to share my knowledge, is to share my knowledge of presentation platforms for lessons I've learned about this semester, such as Blindspace, Google Earth, Prezi, and Glogster. I want to teach others different ways that they can use these type of technologies really easily in their classrooms. I want to create professional development videos to help teachers, to help them gain their fullest potential with using technology in their classrooms and with their students. I have learned many things over this semester. I have learned so much about all the education platforms and the uses of the technology in the classroom. I've learned that we have the potential to have great lessons and dig into a newer type of learning with project-based learning and using online learning. I've learned if you don't push yourself, you'll not know what you're capable of doing. And I have also learned that I do better in a class when I get feedback on how I did after the assignments to keep my motivation going throughout the semester. So when I'm in this situation with my students, I'll be sure to give them feedback as soon as possible. So I want to say thanks for watching and thanks for a great semester. Bye.